Cool, okie dokie. Right, so we're going to start off with making our lemon and blueberry cakes. So I'm going to make the cakes first, and then I'm going to show you a little video of me making the smoked haddock and leek tart. Oh, Edward, could you run to the garden and get my apron, please? Yeah. It's off the line. So first of all, I'm going to wash my hands. I've got to be really careful with this laptop because it's not mine. Right. So we're going to wash our hands first. Wet your hands with water first. Get your soap. Lots of soap on your hands. And then back of the hands. Then the other one. Then the thumbs. In the palms of your hands, and then we're going to go across the back of our nails. Thank you. You do it up for me. This is my little sous chef here. No, thank you. Right. Yeah, thank you very much. Right, I'm going to dry my hands with some paper towel. So every Christmas and birthday I get a new cookery book, and this Christmas I got an Ottolenghi cookery book. So I'm gradually working my way through this cookery book because he's got loads of really lovely, delicious salads that we've been doing, as we're mostly veggie in this house. But I did skip to the back because he does amazing cakes as well. So we're going to be making these lemon and blueberry cakes today. Now he uses what he calls a bunt tin, which is a tin that sort of makes a little hollow in your cake, but I haven't got one of those. So I'm just going to use an ordinary muffin tin. So lemon and blueberry cake. So we start off with mixing flour and ground almonds together. I will send you out the recipe with all the measurements on. I haven't made this before. It's my first time, so hopefully it will come out okay. So you mix your flour and your ground almonds together. And then we're going to cream the butter and sugar. So it's caster sugar, 280 grams of caster sugar, and 280 grams of unsalted butter, which I've left on my sunny windowsill so it softens. And I'm just going to use a hand whisk. Whisk those together so they're nice and fluffy. Right, a little bit of noise now. So you want that to be nice and mixed together, nice and fluffy. Now we're going to break 5 eggs. Now I think it's always a good idea if you just break them individually into a little pot, and if you do get any shells in there, you can just pull them out rather than breaking them all in one go and then having a bit of a nightmare. There's my bowl to mix these there. So the eggs are going to go in one by one. Just checking that I haven't got any shells mixed in there. If you just put your thumbs together gently, your shells should just crack open. So that's 5 eggs. And then we're just going to gently whisk those together with, beat them together with a fork, just to gently break them up. And then we're going to add the eggs to our sugar and butter, just gradually. Just a little at a time. Right, so that's the eggs mixed in. I'm gently going to fold in the almond and flour mixture. Now I know a lot of you know what folding means, and I'll ask you in a bit when I'll mute you later. But so folding is where we don't mix hard like that. We just gently put 1 spoon in at a time, and then you literally want to go around the edge and then flip your spoon over. It's a really gentle action. What you don't want to do is get rid of all the air that you've whisked into your cake already. So just 1 spoon at a time, round the edge, flip your spoon over. Put some more in. And just keep doing that until you've got all the ground almonds and flour incorporated in your sugar, egg and butter mixture. So round the side, flip it over. Cut through, round the side, flip it over. Nearly there. And then we're going to add our lemon zest. So I've zested 2 lemons, finely zested. It's 2 lemon zests. I think lemon and blueberry is a great combination. And actually lemon in any cakes is good. You could add raspberries if you want to. You could just have lemon. You don't have to add the blueberries if you don't have any. And then we've got 120 grams of blueberries and 100 millilitres of lemon juice. I just need to keep a little bit of that lemon juice back for my icing. There's 100 ml of lemon juice goes in as well. Gently fold that in. Now when we fold the blueberries in, we're going to be really, really careful because we don't want to break them up really. Don't worry that it looks a bit like scrambled eggs. Once it gets in the oven and starts cooking, it'll be fine. She says, having never made it before. Right, and now we're with our blueberries. So I'm literally just going to give a couple of turns. now into our greased tin. So as I said before, I don't have a bundt tin, so I'm just using an ordinary muffin tin, which I've greased. You could, if you wanted to, use muffin cases, but I just wanted them to come out more like a bun rather than a muffin. So literally dollop a spoonful, trying to make sure you've got a couple of blueberries in each one. And I've preheated the oven to 170 for a fan oven, 190 if you don't have a fan, and gas mark 5. Fill up your muffin tin, and they're going to go in the oven for, how long does it say to put them? 30 to 35 minutes. But I'll probably check mine after 25 because my oven has been a bit temperamental lately and it seems to be cooking things quicker than recipes. Right. Just give them a little shake to even them out. I'm going to pop them in my oven. Put my timer on for 25 because I always forget things in the oven. There we go. So I'm going to unmute you all now, if I can work out how to do that. Hey, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Good. So, cakes in the oven. So while they're in the oven, I'm going to play you a little video that we made last night, making our smoked haddock tart and our cucumber, chilli, and
cucumber and chili.
salad.
Wow. I'm going to say chili.
Chili?
That sounds nice,
The
doesn't
man
it?
here
Cucumber and
holding
chili
out.
salad.
Oh, that made me hungry.
Hello, Ben. How
Yeah,
are you?
mate,
Hello.
There we
go.
Oh.
So how do we watch the video?
I think it'll probably just start.
Oh, will it?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I'm just about to start it.
Jenny, why have you left?
Shut up. We don't want to hear you. We want to...
Right, so I'm going to mute you all again, and then we're going to play the video, and then we'll have a good old chat about it after.
Ooh, what? Right, let's have a look.
Yeah, we can hear you, Robert.
Hi.
Right, so we're just going to play the video. Okay. Right from the beginning. Hi guys, hope you're all doing well and looking after yourselves. So today we're going to be cooking a smoked haddock and leek tart, and then we're going to be doing some lemon and blueberry cakes, and we're going to make a nice cucumber salad to go with your smoked haddock tart. So first of all, what am I going to do? Wash my hands. So I hope you've all been looking at your sheet again and practicing this. So we need to wet our hands first, get water on those hands, get your soap, lots of soap on the hands. And then we're going to do the backs of each hand. We're going to rub them like that. And we're going to do the thumbs. And then the palms. And then we're going to go across our fingernails. There we go, give them a good rinse. And we should all be doing this all the time. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start by making our smoked haddock and leek tart. So we need to poach our smoked haddock. So I've got 1 1/4 pints of milk, and we're going to put that in a pan. You can use a deep saucepan if you want to. And then we've got 500 grams of smoked haddock. So we're going to turn that on. And then you're just going to lay your haddock in the milk, and the milk is going to poach the haddock. And by poaching, it means it keeps it nice and soft and tender. And then we're going to use the milk from the haddock to make a nice white sauce. So while that's poaching, we're going to make a pastry, because there's a pastry bottom to this tart. Okay, so now we're going to make our pastry that's going to be to line our tart. So we need a pound of flour, and it's plain flour. Can you remember the colour that the plain flour comes in, the packet? It's red, always red. So we're going to have a pound, which is that one there, or just over 400 grams. Now I like to do my pastry in the machine, but if you want to do it by hand, that's absolutely fine. And I know lots of you are brilliant at doing that. I know Lucy, Diana, Michael Sims, you're perfect for making pastry. So, but I'm going to do it in my machine just because I find that you get a nicer, smoother pastry. Or maybe it's just because I'm impatient. So pop your flour in, and then you need 8 ounces or just over 200 grams of unsalted butter. So whatever pastry you're making, whatever size, measure out your flour and then just do half of your butter. So if you wanted a smaller tart, you could do 200 grams of plain flour and 100 grams of unsalted butter. Right, so we're going to pop that in there. And make sure your butter is cut into cubes and that it's really cold. So I cubed mine earlier, and then I popped it in the fridge to keep it nice and cold. Right, bit of noise now. Might have to just scrape down the sides of my, so actually no, not too bad. So can you see, that's just like breadcrumbs. So when you breadcrumb it with your fingers and thumb, if you're doing it by hand, you just want a nice breadcrumb consistency. And then all you need to do to that is add enough water to bring it together. When it's all come together, we're just going to tip it out onto the worktop and then just bring it all together. Put some flour on your worktop and then just give it a little knead, not too much. You need to be really, really careful with pastry and just handle it really, really delicately. And we're going to wrap it in cling film. Pop it in the fridge and let it rest for about 20 minutes. Right, that's going to go in the fridge for 20 minutes. Right, so my milk has come up to bubbling, so I'm just going to turn it down so it's just, we'll have it on a gentle simmer just to cook the haddock, and it won't take long. I'm just going to give it a little move around just to make sure that the haddock is covered in the milk. There we go. So all the haddock is submersed in the milk. There we go. So the haddock has had 5 minutes simmering, so now we're going to take it out of the poaching liquid and just drain it, and then we'll have to take the skin off. We don't want the skin on. And then when we've taken the skin off, let it cool because it's going to be hot, so don't handle it just yet. when it's cooled, and if you need to get someone to help you do this, then just the skin, I've got very asbestos hands, so that skin will just peel off. And I'll do that in a minute. And then we're going to strain the milk liquid, because this milk is going to make our white sauce. And because it's all flavoured with the fish, it's going to be delicious. Okay, so now we're going to strain the liquid through a sieve. And you might need someone to help you with this. You can let it cool down before you do this if you want to. Right. There we go. So I'm going to keep that liquid because that's going to make our sauce. Right, I'm just going to give this pan a little right round. And then we're going to melt our butter in here. So we've got 60 grams of butter. I'm just going to melt that in there, and then we're going to cook our leeks. Now over here we have washed and chopped our leeks, and we're given a really, really good wash because they came from the gardens, they were quite muddy, like that one. So give them a really, really good wash, and when the butter's melted, we're going to pop them into the pan and slowly sweat them. Don't have the heat up too high because you don't want them burnt, you don't want them to go rubbery, you just want them really nicely sweated away so they're really nice and soft. And we'll pop those in. Butter will carry on melting, so don't worry about that. And this is going to take about 15-20 minutes. You give them a stir, try and get all the leeks covered in some butter. Right, so I'm just going to get the pastry out of the fridge now. It's had 20 minutes resting time. And we're going to line our tart tin. I always tend to do more pastry than I actually need, because then you can use it for other things as well, and you can freeze it as well. So, and when you're rolling it out, if you give it a couple of rolls and then turn it, you can keep the round shape that's then going to go on the... Now I can already tell that I've made far too much pastry, so I think I'm going to cut a little bit off. Okay, right, I'm just going to take a wee bit off. And keep rolling. I've got enough for a minute. Okay, I'm just going to move over here, a little bit more room. So this is going to be quite a big tart because there's 4 of us in the house, and so any leftovers we'll be able to have for lunch tomorrow because it is actually really nice cold as well. There we go, right. Not too thick, not too thin with the pastry. So I have already greased a 20-inch round tart tin. So we're going to line that with our pastry. So if you roll your pastry onto your rolling pin, and then you should be able to just lay it down like that, and then just tease it in to all the little curves in your tart tin, pushing it down gently. And then I'm going to have some left over, so we'll just trim that up in a minute. But because we're going to bake it blind, I'm not going to cut it right down to the size of the tin because the pastry will shrink away as it's cooking. So if we leave some just overlapping, that allows for any shrinkage. And then just carry on, just easing it down. I can hear my leeks sizzling away over there nicely. We'll check on those in a minute. Right, so baking blind, guys, I'm going to ask you what that means. And I know lots of you will know the answer. So baking blind means we bake the pastry first. We have to put baking beans on it so the pastry doesn't puff up as it's cooking. And we want to cook the pastry first before we put the wet filling in, because if we don't, what will we get? Soggy bottom, and we don't want that. So we want a really nice crisp crust pastry for us to put our filling in. Right, so I'm going to pop this in the oven. Again, that's probably about 20 minutes. I'm going to check on it after 20 minutes and then take the paper and the baking beans off and just give it a few more minutes without anything on it. Right, so haddock has cooled now. It's enough for me to handle it, so I'm just going to take off the skin and then just literally flake it like that. It's quite nice to have in quite big chunks, but you want to make sure that it's all nicely broken up so everyone gets a good amount of haddock in their portion. Okay, so our leeks are nicely sweated down now, nice and soft. So we're going to get our plain flour, because we're going to make our sauce now. All the ingredients are on the recipe. It's about 2 tablespoons of plain flour. Give that a stir so all the butter soaks into the flour. And then we're going to get our reserved milk cooking liquid from cooking our haddock, and we're going to add that. I'm not going to put it all in straight away. I'm just going to see how it all comes together and how much we need, because you want quite a thick sauce, but it will thicken up as the flour and the milk cook together. So just add it gradually, and you can see the sauce is starting to thicken, so the flour is thickening that cooking milk. Right, so now I've put all the cooking liquid in there, so you've got a nice thick sauce. I'm now going to add a nice tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard is a nice mild mustard, but it just gives a really nice addition to the haddock and the leeks together. So give that a good mix, and now we're going to add some pepper. Give it a season with some salt and pepper, and then you can add your haddock back in, and then we're going to add some cheese, and then that's all ready to go in our case when it's cooked. I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper, and you can put as much pepper as you like in, but just a couple of grinds of salt. Have a stir. Now I am just going to add a little bit more of the milk, because that is thickening quite a lot, and I've just got a little bit left. So I'm just going to fill that all in. And then we're going to add our cheese. So we've got 50 grams of mature cheddar cheese. Grate it up and then pop that in. And just let that melt. The heat of the milk will melt that. And then we're just going to pop our fish back in.
give it another little stir. And now it's all ready to go in our pastry case. Okay, so the pastry case is nearly done, but I'm going to take the baking beans out now. And I'm going to just pop it back in the oven just to crisp off the base a little bit more. So it's just another 5 minutes. Going to check on our pastry case. Yeah, I think that's good to go. You can see it's nice and golden brown. Edges are nicely cooked. So we're going to put our filling in there. Now this pan is cast iron, so it's quite heavy. So literally just pop your filling in. As I said, it's nice cold as well. Sounds odd, but trust me. Right, last little bit in. And then we're just going to grate some cheese on the top so that when it cooks, that cheese will give a nice golden crust. And who doesn't like lots of cheese on a tart? Okay, so we're just going to grate some cheese on the top. Again, nice mature cheddar cheese, but if you haven't got cheddar, you could use some Parmesan. There we go. And then finally, I'm just going to put some parsley on the top, and then in she goes. That's going to take about 20 minutes. Okay, so to go with our smoked haddock and leek I've just stopped the video there, guys, because our cakes are just coming out of the oven. If you're on, I'm going to unmute you so you can chat to me.
Lemon and blueberry cake.
Right.
Cakes are just out of the oven.
They're lovely.
Oh, that's perfect.
Wow,
Yeah.
lovely.
Make the icing for those now.
Yummy.
Yummy.
Yeah, me too.
This is making me really hungry, Elizabeth.
It's me, I know.
That's the idea. All your pictures when you've made the tart and the cakes.
What can you use?
Make the icing to go on top of the.
I'll write my question out afterwards. I'll write my question down afterwards. It's about baking beans. If you don't have any.
I've just got the last bit of the video to show you the salad, and then oh, excuse me, that's my timer.
She's on fire.
The 50 ml of lemon juice, and then we've got 100 grams of icing sugar, which we're going to make up into a. When the cakes are cool, they're a bit hot at the moment. When the cakes are cool, then we're going to drizzle that. So it's literally just going to mix the lemon juice with the icing sugar. It's really
Makes a lemon icing, I see.
Makes lemon icing.
Lemon icing.
Making me hungry.
It is Mike.
Hungry.
Robert.
Did you all see the video okay?
Yeah.
Yes, brilliant.
Perfect. Perfect.
Exciting. Juice. I have to see what you do.
Nice, Elizabeth. Yeah. Nice.
Good. Is that you? I can hear.
Yeah, me watching.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, all right, thank you. 55 now.
Hello, Diana. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Michael.
Right.
Hello, Elizabeth.
So let's mix that all together, and then that's going to be drizzled on our cake. And then
Did you say that was 50 grams of icing sugar and 100, sorry, 50 grams of lemon juice, 100 grams of icing sugar?
150 grams of icing sugar
Um,
and 50 ml of lemon juice.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
I've got an Argo. Would that help with the cooking?
Oh, I'm very envious of you, Leah. Your cakes will be amazing in your Argo. What Argo have you got?
Big one.
It's I think it's a gas one, but I don't know.
Baking oven in your Argo.
I got a baking oven, a simmering oven, and oil.
Roasting oven. Yeah, you can just put your cake in your baking oven, and it probably won't take as long. 20 minutes. You might want to check it after 15.
Okay.
But you should get amazing cakes in your oven.
And like
That's
lunchtime,
nice.
like
Wow.
Sydney.
smoke, headache, Tart.
I'm going to mute you all now, and then watch the last bit of the video. We're going to make a cucumber and sesame seed salad. So I'm going to chop 2 chilies, take the seeds out. Be really careful when you're chopping chilies that you don't touch your eyes or your mouth or your nose afterwards. Make sure you wash your hands. We're going to take the seeds out and then we're going to chop the chilies finely. If you don't like chilies, you don't have to have chili in here. We like quite a bit of heat in our house, so 2 chilies are going to go in. So chop them really finely. Put those in a nice dish that you want to serve your salad in. Put a cucumber, we're going to just cut it on an angle, just because it's a nice shape. So slice your cucumber. And if you have got a greenhouse and when you have grown any cucumbers, the little ones are really lovely for this recipe as well. So we've got some nice small cucumbers when the time is right to pick them. Not yet, obviously. I'm just going to cut those in half again. They can go in your bowl. And then we've got some nice coriander. I've taken the stalks off and we're just going to chop the leaves, but don't throw the stalks away because you can use those, chop them, freeze them, and you can use them in curries, soups. So don't waste anything. We use everything we possibly can. So just roughly chop the coriander. It doesn't have to be too fine. There we go. And add that to your cucumber. And then we've got 125 ml of sunflower oil and 60 ml of white wine vinegar. And we're going to put 2 tablespoons of caster sugar in that. So this is our salad dressing. And just mix that all together. And that's your salad dressing. But I'm not going to put that on until I'm ready to serve the salad because I don't want it to go too soggy. So we'll just put that aside until the tart's ready. Okay, so our tarts had 20 to 25 minutes in the oven. So it's ready when you can see a nice golden crust and the cheese has started to melt. And don't worry if some of these pastry bits look a little bit burnt because that's the reason we left excess pastry around the tart so that when it's cooked we can trim those off and it will look beautiful. So I'm just going to leave it to rest, probably for about 10-15 minutes, just because if you cut it now, it might be a bit runny. So it just needs to cool down a little bit, not too much. So 10-15 minutes, and then it'll be really good to cut and serve with our salad. Okay, so we've let the tart cool down a bit, and now we're just going to trim off that excess pastry. And the easiest way to do that is just go around the edge. Should come off quite easily. Okay, so we've trimmed our tart down, and now we're going to take it out of the case. So a little trick is any jar you've got, if you've greased your tin really well, just come off like that, then your tart is ready to serve. Look at that, amazing, gorgeous. Okay, so we've let our tart cool down. I'm just going to slice into it now. Ooh, nice crunch to the pastry. And then we're just going to, I've added some poppy seeds to my dressing for my salad. And then we're just going to have a nice spoonful of lovely cucumber, chilli, coriander, poppy seed salad with a nice dressing. Yummy.